Hello, everyone. My name is Michaela Madrid, and I am the Operations Manager with Sovereign Bodies Institute. Today, we're really excited to be bringing you some family voices from Montana on this very important day of May 5th. All day, we are doing a series of family panels, and we're just so excited to get started. So before we dive into our panel, we'd first like to invite Elder Ada Benz to give us a prayer to open us up in a good way.
Thank you so much. It's a very humbling honor to be able to provide this prayer for all of the MMIWPs with this day of the awareness of this day and every day. I'd like to say the prayer in my mother language, the Apsalogak Crow language. Kaha, ichik balish mach chachotish. Amawach besh tishikago, nawabesh babich gash, Malayla gosh to Sishahogash nimak. Inesapti uta, nawabesh, Blaze yoga. Soshbal ta, Gago, Paritigaddish, Blaze. Pupisho besh, Zak Haliachash, Bilidajish, Awish, Besikush. Ihla shobesh, the Gagish, Bilish, Hujesh, Malachish. Gago Ehlagesh, and then name MIWP Gadesh. And name Mawa Chish Gadish, a man Chushtash. Koshuk Elivios. Agewich Bagish, Blashut, was Jogag, Bawa Charge and Chushpash. Blade Sobago. Devil is Azik. Alichish Kowagalik. Saptu what the Lakbach Bish. Blaze, you will go. This is a Hogash, Aho. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ada. So with that, I'd like to pass it over to our esteemed moderators, Ivan and Ivy MacDonald.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Ivy MacDonald. I'm a member of the Blackfeet tribe. I am a filmmaker and activist, and I'm an MMIW, MMIP family survivor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ivy MacDonald. Thank you for being here today. I'm a filmmaker based out of Missouri, Montana, and also a member of the Blackfeet tribe and an activist.
I think we would just do like a quick introduction. Our work really started with trying to understand our family's own connection to this crisis. In 1979, our cousin Monica Wells, still smoking, was kidnapped and murdered on the Blackfeet Reservation, and we kind of feel that's kind of where our work has started. And I'd really like to thank Grace Bulltail for being here today. And Grace, if you just wanted to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Grace Bulltail. I am Crow in 3 affiliated tribes. I'm originally from Montana. I currently a assistant professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I'm speaking to you today from the traditional homelands of the Ho-Chunk people here in Wisconsin.
Could you give us a little introduction to your story and your family story, Grace?
Yeah. So I'm the youngest of there's three of us sisters. My oldest sister, she's kind of been the mother figure for our family. We were raised by our grandparents since I was like around 5 years old, and since we've lost them and my dad as well, we've really been kind of a young family. And my middle sister Geraldine, she is the mother to Kesara Stops Pretty Places. she's my niece, and I helped my grandparents raise her well. While they were still alive, and I was living here with them in Montana at the time. And she's always just been really close to everyone in our family. She's just kind of all of our daughter, everyone in our family. And she was always just such a kind, just compassionate person. She she always had a lot of friends, just really, really caring about other people. And it was last August that I moved from Wisconsin to Wisconsin. I was at Crow Fair in 2019 and just stopped there for a couple of days on my move out here from California. And I had just enough time to stop there and go to Crow Fair for a couple of days. And Kesara was there. She was surrounded by her friends. And packed up and left on Saturday, and that was the last time I saw her. And a few days later, I saw that she was missing. She was reported missing by my half sister, Priscilla Brown. And I just thought that was odd because Kesara was supposed to go back to Missoula to go to high school for her senior year. And she had been missing since August 24th. And we weren't told that that Kesara was found. Her body was found in Hardin on August 29th. There was no media coverage of that. There was just, nothing. And the police the law enforcement finally notified Priscilla that Kesara's body had been identified on September 11th. So that was 2 weeks after her after she was discovered. And yeah, it was just, it's really hard to function when something like that happens. Just to even try to figure out where she was, who she was with. And this whole time, like the coroner just being really, really disrespectful and, telling me that her cause of death would be exposure due to drug or alcohol use. And and no one from the sheriff's office talking to us about her, or they were just gonna let us just have her buried and then just never address it. But then we're like, well, what the hell? Why did it take you so long to identify her? What was going on? And how can you just let the coroner say this to our family? And we reached out to the county attorney, and he told us that that there was a delay for 2 weeks when no one was looking at her case because the investigator stepped off of the case. There's just general turmoil in that department. So ever since then, we've been trying to find answers on our own. We still haven't gotten anything from Bighorn County law enforcement, so we've asked for a police report. There was never a missing persons report for Kesara. The only thing that we have got is her autopsy 16 weeks after it was done. And that was the only confirmation that we had that it was Kesara, that I had. and you know, because we weren't ever able to see her body. She was cremated by the coroner after it was found out that he took her body from the crime lab in Billings back to Hardin before she was identified. I mean, before we were told, like, why did that happen? And then he was made to bring her back, and you know, he's never been able to give an answer why he did that. I think they absolutely knew it was Quesera, that he knew, that law enforcement knew, and why are you not telling our family? You know, it's really easy to find out who her parents are. It's, you know, it's not that difficult for people to find a birth certificate, or to find that you know, that she had a legal guardian. So just a lot of inconsistencies that you know, once we were kind of able to be able to function again enough to really try to find out more of the details, and we've had to do all of this ourselves. So we found out that she was in Hardin with you know, with her group of friends, and we know who these people are. We don't know if they've been extensively interviewed. You know, and my sister Priscilla knew this. She knew who she was with, where she went. It was very near to where her body was found 4 days after she went missing. And you know, these are all things that we've had to find out on our own. And you know, it just seems like Bighorn County doesn't want to look into her case, doesn't care, or that if they do, you know, it'll uncover you know, just all these negligences that they did at the time and that they're continuing to do.
Yeah, no, thank you. I actually knew Sarah when I worked over in Missoula, when I lived in Missoula and worked at All Nations Health Center, and she was always such a bright light. And you know, I think that from the work that my sister and I have done, you know, that's often the case where families have to seek their own justice. You know, I can't tell you how many cases we followed where exposure was listed as the cause of death, and yeah, you know, I think that that's kind of something that our communities deal with, is even if, you know, we may know causes of death, we may know miscarriages of justice, and, you know, it's listed as hypothermia, um, exposure, kind of all of those. What do you kind of wish that what kind of support do you wish your family would have gotten in those initial, say, hours to few days after Sarah first went missing? What kind of support do you think you would have needed?
Yeah, I think that our family wasn't told that she was missing. I was in Wisconsin. I think maybe you know, the person who reported her missing didn't reach out to the rest of our family. You know, expected her mother to come from Missoula to come and pick her up. I I don't think that you know, she was adequately reported missing. You know, there hasn't ever been a missing persons report for her. Bighorn County, they say 2 different dates of when she was actually reported missing, on the 27th and on the 29th after her body was found. Yeah, so I think that there's just so many inconsistencies on the people surrounding her. Like when were they concerned? Why did they wait so long, and why are they telling us different stories? Or if she just vanished, why not go look for her in the area where you knew she was? Her body was found right next door to the house where she was known to be, and that's where she was last seen alive. Why not go and look in that area? Yeah, I think that's part of something that the investigators should look into. Anyone who is actually tasked with trying to find out what happened to her, and then using the excuse that while she's 18 now, we don't have to contact her parents or her guardian, who was her grandmother. She's an adult. I don't know, but it's really just the same things we hear about Native women and how they're not valued, and that the narrative quickly turns to victim blaming, while she's responsible for putting herself in that situation. And I think that's the way that that these cases are seen, particularly in Bighorn County. She just was not a priority.
Yeah, we've definitely have seen that. Our relative is Ashley Loring, heavy runner, and so we work really closely with their family and Kimberly. I think that's kind of that misconception of families often know when someone goes missing. They know that there's something wrong. They know that there's something not right there. But I remember when Kimberly was trying to initially file a missing persons report, she ran into that same issue of she's 18, she'll come back, we can't file a missing persons report. And I think that's so much often that the struggle we find with families is that there's almost this misunderstanding of how and why our women and family members and community members go missing. And I think that's kind of a huge issue related around reporting.
And reporting, and also the fact too that like
your mic, Ivy, is muffled still. Grace, could you talk a little bit about some of the work that I know that your family was working with? Is it Pipestem Law, and kind of with around that, and kind of in your search for justice, or kind of the work that your family had to take on themselves, which so much MMIW, MMIP families have to do?
Yeah. So we hadn't got any response from Bighorn County law enforcement. I mean, again, like I think they just expected us to bury her, and then they would never have to deal with it again. Like I don't know. I guess that's how families are treated. Yeah, but everything that we found out on our own just shows extreme negligence on their part. But I was just thinking, like, I don't have much faith in them to act differently. We go to the county attorney. He's Native, the sheriff is Native, they're Crow. They're elected, but so can you say it's a racial thing? It's just that Native women are not a priority in our county, and just the level of apathy is just so it's just so heavy when I'm there, when I'm in that courthouse, when we were allowed to go in and try to talk to people. It's been like over a year and a half since we've been able to do that, but it's just so it just really sucks the hope and humanity out of you. Just going in there, just being met with just such dismissive attitudes. The county attorney is related to us. He's we have the same great grandfather, Robert Yellowtail, and I'm just so disheartened by how our girls are not valued, how we're just continually disrespected. They won't even answer anything, give us any of our information. And we had been going and protesting just every month. Our Cheyenne relatives, really took the lead in organizing our first march. That was in September 2019. There was several other MMIW mothers that were there, Melinda Harris and Paula Stops, who is Henny's mom. They kind of stood for us before, while we weren't able to. And I think once you kind of get over that shock, you realize that that if you don't do this, that no one's going to be there for your girl. And I'm just seeing more and more. I'm really proud of Yolanda for going out today. She's in Hardin, and I know that this was really hard for her. I think that for me, just something went off, and just being unheard, just being dismissed. You realize it's not about you, it's not about your personal feelings. But the thing that's always present here is that this, the time is continually going, and it's been over a year and a half. It'll be 2 years in August, and the more time that passes, the more that the law enforcement thinks they're going to get off, they're going to be off the hook for this, that it's a cold case. We've done everything we can, and the pandemic has just that's been a year, over 14 months since we've been able to gather in person and hold them accountable. So that's a convenient excuse for them. It's all the same players still in Bighorn County. The Montana administration has changed over. There's a new attorney general, but they've already told us, the Montana DCI, that they're not going to review Sarah's case, that they didn't have the capacity to do that. And it's like, well, how many other cases have you taken? I look in the paper and I see you're doing all of these drug investigations. That's a priority over, over our families, and they have jurisdiction. The Operation Lady Justice, they say they don't have jurisdiction to look at her case. since it was off the reservation. And, I was like, well, I don't see that anywhere in, all of your literature that you're putting out, that you're only going to be helping cases that occur on reservations. Like, where do you say that? Like, Native women aren't killed only on reservations. Yeah, so everything has just been really disheartening. But again, like our family, through everything we've done, we've just had to to find our legs to be able to stand again. And and also just to to say that it's just really, it's really hard to see this happening again and again, after Kesera. And not only are women, but our men. Bighorn County is still the epicenter for this. And I think that we just still have to do everything we can to ask for accountability, and to really shed light on this crisis and the complicity of law enforcement and all of these task forces that aren't doing anything to this issue.
What do you kind of see as justice for your family, Grace, or justice for Kesera? In a lot of our work, and Ivy may be able to speak to this, we've had people tell us, we may not get justice in the colonial sense, where the person who caused our loved one's death is sentenced for a crime, but we get some form of justice in telling their story, or making their story known. And what do you kind of see as justice for your family?
Yeah, I think that a lot of families feel they'll never get justice. But something that we can ask for is accountability. We absolutely need accountability for law enforcement. They're charged with bringing us justice, but if they're the ones that are doing this, we need to call attention to that, and to point out all of the ways that all these levels of government, of these BIA task force, of these state task forces, and these county programs, what are you actually doing? If you're just putting on a show, that's not helping anyone. If all of these elected officials, if you want to use us as family members to come and make your campaign appearance, and then but what have you been doing for us before that? We're not going to, we see through all of these things. We need accountability at every level, definitely from our elected officials. The coroner is elected, the sheriff is elected, the county attorney is elected. And I think that families are often so buried in their grief that it's hard to to call out all of these people that have been trying, that haven't adequately investigated their loved one's murder, and try to bring change to the system, to hold our elected officials accountable to actually make change here. Don't support and hold up these empty task forces, not just in Montana, but even even in the state where I live now, like I hear the same criticisms that you know, family members' voices aren't front and center. You know, and we're really the people that that you need to listen to, and that you need to, you know, to have in mind when you're doing these things, when you're when you're putting these task forces together. You know, say, well, are we going to run into the same thing again, where we have these cold case task forces allegedly in name, but they're not actually going because of jurisdiction, because, you know, everyone's not murdered on the reservation, that they're not able to do anything. And people don't know that that all of these problems exist unless they have to use them. You know, you don't know that the task force isn't going to help you until you have to use it. And so to everyone on the outside, it looks like, oh, like they're doing something, like good, someone should help these poor families. But you know, they're not actually effective. So I think shedding some light on that, and you know, making people that have the power to change these things in place, these interventions that are in place, to make sure that they work, even if you're not going to get credit for it. You know, and help these families that actually need it and that come to you and ask for it.
Yeah, can you guys hear me better now? Okay, thank you for sharing that. And I think that's the thing, is that through all of the that we talk to, it's the same thing that they say, is that we want to hold these people accountable, and we have to hold them accountable. And I just wanted to ask, what would you like us to know about Kay Sarah, and how can we honor her memory? What do you remember the most about her?
Yeah, I think about her a lot. You know, and just the pressure that's put on our young people. You know, I'm a professor, and I see teenagers all the time in my work, you know, on campus, and you know, people that are her age, and you know, around the age that she would be. And you know, I just think of how much challenges our Native kids have. I mean, you know, that they face today, everything they go through, you know, living in this modern world, and and just thinking of those challenges they have. You know, I always come back to that I'm happy that she knew love, like as confusing and as you know, as difficult as it is being a Native person, a young Native woman, that that she was kind, that she was compassionate. You know, she didn't dwell on you know, all of the things in her life that she couldn't help. You know, she always had so many friends around her, and you know, she chose to be a loving, caring person, and you know, just always thinking of what she could do for other people, and just being so protective of the people she loved. And in particular, her younger sister, who, she was just extremely close to. She was basically a second mother to her. And I'm always comforted by that, because I think to myself, when I was 18, I just had so many worries, and I definitely didn't have the outlook that she did. And just how willing she was to be, just to be a good friend, a good relative. Every time I asked her to help me with something, she was right there. And she was just so so strong, and just physically just capable. And anytime I needed help, she was right there. I just find myself still thinking about her, like she's, like I have something that's not going to fit me, that I buy, and before I would say, well, I'll just give it to Sarah. I don't know, but when I do think of her, I just think of her just just being really joyful, and just being loved, and being surrounded by her friends, and knowing that she would always be so concerned about her sister. And that's something that also really motivates me, is to think about how things are going to impact her sister, who's 12 now. And that really motivates me, to keep fighting for her, for her sister, and letting her know that we did everything we could, and we're doing everything that we can. And to try to to try to give her some hope as a growing person that is going to be a Native woman, Sarah's age someday. Just to protect her as much as we can, and to empower her as much as we can.
Thank you so much for your strength, Grace, and thank you so much for sharing your family story. I'm going to let Ivy introduce Cheryl, and have Cheryl introduce herself, and we'll have some closing remarks. And thank you so much again for sharing. And it's so much of this work needs to be family centered, and any way we can support your family, please let us know.
Thank you for joining us, Cheryl. We would love to hear your family story, and have you introduce yourself.
Okay, hi everybody. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Cheryl Horn, and I'm the aunt to Selena Bell Not Afraid and to Tristan Gray. They're sisters, and both fall under the category of MMIW. Tristan, she was hit and run in the Billings, right by the airport there. We know the driver. He admitted he hit her. We have witnesses. He washed his car. The cops are aware of all of this, yet no arrests have been made. That's coming on 3 years here in July. So our next step as a family right now, we're looking to take him to civil court, because the criminal justice system has failed, which is not a surprise. We were hoping we'd get at least a hit and run charge, or leaving the scene of an accident, and nothing to that has even been done. No charges at all. He went to his mother's work. She's a nurse or a CNA, excuse me, in Billings. She made an anonymous call stating there was a dead body. Somebody got run over on the rims. And the police tell us that's why he's free, because his mother called it in and reported it. That's the justice that Tristan Gray gets from Billings, Montana. So that's why I'm here. I'm also here for her younger sister, Selena Not Afraid. Selena was allowed to go cruise around with a friend. These friends are adults. Her name's Deandra Pittman. And she wasn't allowed to be at a party on New Year's Eve. She wasn't allowed none of that. She was to go for a ride with Deandra and come home. She never came home. 20 days later, she was found deceased. That means 8 adults went home, or 7 adults went home, and the only teenager they had with them did not go home. When we got her home 20 days later, we had to bury her. That's what they did to her. Some are her relatives, and that's even more shocking. But it's not new. That's the bad part. It's how they do it. They know how to do it now. They know how to get away with murder in Montana. Not just Montana, other states. So you follow what somebody else did. You go leave them somewhere, and then you say, oh, we left her, she ran off. You're scot-free. That's all you have to say in Bighorn County, or anywhere else for that matter. So I'm here to follow up on just to follow a few words on what Grace said. Yeah, I totally agree with her on these task force. They had a Montana task force. They were all over the news. They were everywhere. And this was after Tristan. So I thought, oh gosh, thank God, for whoever comes after Tristan. Little did I know it'd be me again. Little did I know there would be nothing the task force could do. They didn't do anything. And they're not paid to do anything yet. She told me they're paid to collect data. So yeah, we go back to the data collecting. That data that should have been collected all these years is holding us back now, because we have to start at the beginning to get the numbers. We need the data so we can show the need for more resources. So I agree with her on these task forces for now. Up to this point, they're paperwork. I've yet to see prosecutions as a result of any of these task forces. And Operation Lady Justice, I'm not sure what they told Kay Sarah's family, because Selena did disappear and was found off the reservation. What they told us is Bighorn County is the one who contacts Operation Lady Justice and asks for the help, asks for the resources. That's what we're told. So I do not see why they are not involved in Kay Sarah's case at all. Same scenario, off the res, same county. It goes back to, they could tell one family one thing, and then they go and tell another family another thing, and we don't know because we weren't talking before. So they got away with this. They got away with making your moms, your aunties, your wives, your grandmas sit at the window and watch for a sheriff who's never going to come, who's never going to update you on your family member, man or woman, because they don't care. That's it. We can't sit here and point our fingers and say they're doing this to us Native people. No, it's us Native people doing it to each other. There's cases where we can point the finger and prove other colors, other nationalities hurt our girl. Right now, Shakaya's missing. All roads point to a Black man. That's one of the few. All the rest of these cases that we want justice for and we speak their names for, more than likely we know who killed them. We know who had our kids. We know who was last with them. But what do we do with that information? We hand it over to somebody, hoping they're listening to us, hoping they wrote it down, hoping they tell somebody who could do something about it. Hope, hope, hope. You know, hope can only get us so far. And we go back to all this legislation that just passed. You know, I'm actually really super excited for this review committee. So you got all these cases, and you can't have one investigator and one county attorney, and they can say, oh no, we don't care about Joe, close his case, not enough evidence, when they're the ones who didn't go get the evidence, when they're the ones who didn't even go talk to witnesses. You know, we have two people able to close a case, put it in a file cabinet, and that'd be the end of it. And that's not fair, then that's not justice. So with this review commission, if it plays out the way it's as families hope, they'll take these cases and they'll review them and they'll open them back up. But at what point do the people who aren't doing their job, what repercussions what consequences are they ever going to face? A lot of these jobs you are voted in. So yeah, go rally against these county commissioners, rally against your county attorney, rally against your sheriff, rally against your tribal leaders. You know, you just got to change, get them out of there. I'm not going to say this just pertains to men, but smash the patriarchy. Do it. This movement, this is all led by grandmas, aunties, mothers, you know, sisters, because we are not scared. That's it. That's the bottom line. We're led by investigators who are men, county attorneys who are men, tribal leaders who are men. And you know what? They're scared. They're not ready to stand up for us. They're not. They get money just to stand back. Why would they get the same amount of money to put themselves up and be a target? Because a lot of these killers live in our community. And we know who they are. So do the police. And what it comes down to is, why aren't they doing their jobs? We wouldn't need task forces. We wouldn't need commissions. We wouldn't need reviews. We wouldn't need all this if the local people would do their job. You know, you have to make them. You vote them in. We got each of our reservations. We have a BIA investigator. Ours here has not investigated one murder. There's 2 in the last year here in Fort Belknap. And I go to these families. I go to the people along the river where they were found. I go to the witnesses and I ask them, has anybody talked to you? Not one person has been talked to yet. And yet we have missing cases unsolved, not even questioning the witnesses, not even questioning the family members, not even questioning the people they were last seen with, because they're scared. They're scared of retaliation. So they let it go by. They let our girls think that they're nothing. We got high school kids who found one of our missing girls. Not one time has anybody talked to these high school girls. Me? Nobody else who matters, not even the investigators. So you want us to be quiet for Thomasine. You want us to be quiet for Sarah, Casey, Henny, everybody. You want us to be quiet so you can continue to get your check and do nothing. But that's not where it's going to be anymore. We're going to shout it. And we're going to keep shouting for our kids, because Selena ain't here to shout. Tristan ain't here. Sarah ain't here. Kaimani ain't here. Right now, Leo's not here. Leo Wagner. Right now, Arden's not here. We have to shout. We have to do it. And yes, just like she said, it all looks good on paper, but we've yet to see anybody prosecuted. We're in quite a few years of this now. Show us the prosecution. Show us something we can share. Throw somebody in jail. Record the clang when they shut the gate behind them. Give us something. We got a misdemeanor out of 7 adults who were last with Selena. 1 misdemeanor at that. And she apparently didn't even leave town with her. So what's going to happen to the killers? You know, it gets a little frustrating, but in this, you can't get frustrated. You just keep on the positives. Okay, it's still going in, we have people fighting. That's the best positive thing we can. We can't change the past because all the negative happened. It's already done. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here, because somebody did something to my girls. But all I can do is work on today and tomorrow, you know, and help families the best I can, tell them what works, what doesn't work, find resources, build resources, you know. The Snowbird Fund, that's a resource now for missing people. You can access that. No questions asked. They help you. You can spend it however you want. Sovereign Bodies, they've really jumped into supporting families. You know, they didn't just take our numbers, take our information and leave us. You know, they still provide resources for families after mental health, anything, you know, and that's what it's about. I can't bring Selena back. I can't bring Tristan back. I might never get justice for him, but I'm still going to shout, I'm still going to scream, and I'm still going to help out everybody who asks and do what I can. You know, and that's all we can do. Keep doing it, keep plugging away. Don't quit, because just like Grace said, if we don't do it, it's over. If I'm not talking for Selena, who is? You know, I'm an auntie, I'm here, I'm able to do all this. She has a mother, she's grieving. This is my job, you know. So every family has somebody. They're going to have to figure out who is their person and get that person and support them. I wouldn't be able to do all this, number one, without my own family supporting me. You know, my own family has to, they're your cheerleaders. They're, you know, you get down, you want to quit some days, just, you know, you just want to say, I don't want to do this anymore. You get to that point, but then, oh, you only let that stay for a little while because you're stronger than that. You're tougher than that. You know, you're stronger minded. To be here and to do this, it takes a lot, because you take a lot of negative from your own communities, from the families. They don't want you telling them that their brother, their uncle, their sister, whatever, they're killers. They want you guys to all forget that, you know. And so when we have to stand as family members and do this, you have to be brave. You have to speak the truth every day. Your story has to be their story. It's not my story, it's Selena's story, and it's Tristan's story, and it has to be the truth, and it's their truth. So with that, you know, I just would like to encourage people to support families. Yeah, we got these, you can say, oh, they got the task force. Where's the task force? Shoot, I want to know where the task force was too. You know, when you're standing there at 3 o'clock in the morning, there ain't no task force there. You know, there's people, volunteers and family. So it goes right back to, there's not very many resources out there. The two I named are the very few I know who actually help you, because everybody leaves you. They'll be there in the first initial days, but at some point they slowly leave you. Then all of a sudden you're alone, you know. And that's how we were. Instead of quitting, we just went even harder, you know. And we went deeper. You go, you do what you can. You call newspapers. You're not going to get help local. You go higher. You go higher and higher. You find yourself a media person, you know, as a family, and you do outreach, everything, just to keep the awareness going. Because we got Selena, you know, we got her back. That was our main goal. Bring her home, give her back. And then after that is when, you know, there's other girls still. And I realized that when Selena moved out of the way, there's still girls back there. There's still girls with missing, you know. And so you keep it up, you keep it up. You share yourself is what you do, you know, as an advocate, and you do your best to just support the families, because I have had to focus. You try to be all over the board, but there's so many sections to MMIW. It's not just flat, you know. So my focus really stayed on families, their needs, what they are going through. You know, yeah, you support the bills and you do all that too, but in the meantime, there's no help. You know, you have to find, you beg, borrow, and steal basically to help these searches, to help these families. You beg for the community to help. And families shouldn't have to beg when there's people paid to do their jobs. You know, there's people paid to investigate. Make them investigate. If they're not investigating, get rid of them. If they're not prosecuting, get rid of them. But we want to see something. We want something. Give us something. Give us some prosecutions. I don't care if it's 1 year prosecutions. Every family deserves some kind of justice. And, you know, just being today's MMIP Day, it's just so awesome to see all these people, all the red, all the Zooms, all everything. You know, I even had to turn down events. And I told you when I started this, there's nobody. I had nobody to support. I couldn't even turn to another family member because I didn't know another family. But in the last couple of years, it all drawn together and we know each other and we have support. And that's the main thing, is let a family know, even if it's just a text message or something, let them know you're praying for them, because you feel the prayers and you feel them when they stop, you know. So when you're, you get up every day, you pray for strength, but you can feel other people praying for you. So just continue that, you know. They say, oh, you're offering prayers, offer something. No. Prayers are amazing, you know. So pray for strength for these families, because it's hard to do that. It's hard to get out, look for your loved ones, you know, get out. We pull up, we pray, we find her. Then in my mind, I'm like doing my own little secret prayer. Please don't let it be me, you know. That's how it is. That's the reality of it, is we might find her ourselves. And that's that's something we have to be ready to do. You have to do it. That's the bottom line, is you have to do it. And there's people willing to help. So reach out and stay focused, and, you know, don't get discouraged and don't give up, because just like Grace said, once you stop saying their names, so will everybody else. And they don't deserve to be just a file in a file cabinet. None of them do. So just want, you know, thank everybody again for inviting me, and it's heard some good information, and just want to encourage everybody just to keep it up. It's hard. And like I said, I get labeled troublemaker, all kinds of stuff, you know, but I'm not complacent. I'm not happy with people getting injustice. I'm not happy with people getting paid to not do their job. And if that makes me a troublemaker, then I'm a troublemaker in capital letters. So, you know, just thank everybody for keeping the issue alive, because our biggest fear as families is people are going to start forgetting and move on to something else. It's not a fad. It's a tragic events that have been happening for years, but we have to find our strength now to say no more. Our women deserve better. Our women deserve respect. There was a time in our lives where women were respected. They gave life. Now we're overcome with domestic violence, you know, in our communities. We see our mothers get beat up. We see our sisters be beat up. You know, that's not acceptable. And on a tribal level, I'm only speaking for my tribe where I come from. It's acceptable here. It's acceptable with our prosecutors. It's acceptable with our council members. And it's wrong. And I just want to encourage everybody to keep supporting us, because it's hard when it feels like we're the only ones here, you know. So to see all this happening today, boy, it gives all of us families just fills our gas tank, is how I can say it, you know, because we realize we're doing good. We're speaking out, and people are hearing, and people are helping us shout. They're helping us shout. Everybody here is shouting in their own way. So for all of those who can't, none of them can tell us what happened, but all we can do is do our best to represent them, all of them. So thanks everybody for, you know, like I said, inviting me. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to join the questions.
Yeah, no, thank you, Cheryl. I just have to thank you for your work, because I work closely with Whitney and Snowbird Fund, and I know that when we were first initially conceptualizing and doing interviews for it, and as Whitney helped create Snowbird, she mentioned a lot of you and what she learned from you, and as family survivors, our own selves, my sister and I, and the work we do, we've been able to reach out to people, reaching out to Leo Wagner and Arden Peppian's family and trying to help them just in any way. And most of our work, we kind of realize, like we can't do everything. We can't push coroners, we can't push attorneys. It's like, how do we really refocused our work on, okay, what do families need? What are their needs? When they're initially searching, how can we get out there? I mean, we've been on searches for our cousin Ashley Lauren Heavy Runner. We've been on searches for Jermaine Charlo, and with that work, with hopefully the work that Snowbird will continue to support and work towards, hopefully eventually we can be providing support for other stuff, attorneys or legal support, or anything like that. And I think it's just through the work of actually listening to the families in the first place, which what you were talking about, how many of these task force started without any family involvement. And I think as that we push forward for justice in this movement, it really has to be centered on the families.
I always like to say that the families are the experts because they're the ones who know what is going on. They're the ones pushing it. They're the ones out there. They're the ones living it fully. And yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing.
Is there any direct support we can offer to your family moving forward, Cheryl?
Well, let's see. Right now, Selena's case is sitting with the Department of Justice. So it's like, I feel like I can't rock the boat, and I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling like all my cards are in their hands, so I can't speak up, That's not the way it should be either. So, just continuing to spread awareness with that, like I said, Sal's here for everybody. Sal is so giving of herself that I believe that's why her name went so far, is because she could be your daughter. She could be your neighbor's daughter. I had so many strangers come up to me and say, I have a daughter that age. That's why I'm here. Here's some food. Here's some, what do you need? Because they're humans. And once they're dehumanized by numbers and the system, people quit caring, So just reminding people that these girls are all individuals. Every case is different. The boys and their men too, we can't forget them. They're just underrepresented, but they're there. The numbers are there and they need our support. The families need our support. And so just a lot of our families, we need lawyers, just like you kind of mentioned the lawyer thing. And it seems like in Montana, it's very hard to find a lawyer who wants to go up against the good old boys. We're a good old boys state. And so the fact that these bills passed in legislation, there were no's, there's going to be no's and everything, but it just kind of proved to me that they're finally seeing it's not political. It's not Democratic problem. It's not a Republican problem. It's a human issue. And that itself is encouraging to me. I like to grab onto the positives because that's what gets me going, is all the positives. Like I said, there's negatives there. We can't do nothing about the negatives, but we drag the positives and we put them in the forefront, and that's how you get people on board. You're not going to get anybody to jump into a negative ship. You get all kinds of people jumping in your positive ship, So I try to operate on a lot of positivity the best I can with this situation, because I already said the negative's been done. The damage is done. Nothing I can do to change what they did to Selena or what they did to Tristan. The only thing I can do is fight for justice, fight for change, and hope it doesn't have to happen to another family. My heart is with the next family. And, as far as community support, just local, just stay local. There's a family in every one of our communities who needs help, whether it's a text message, maybe drop up, you know how we are as natives, we like to eat, drop them off a meal, drop them off a dessert and say, hey, we didn't forget your daughter. We didn't forget Henny. We didn't forget Kesera. We didn't forget Tristan. We didn't forget, and we didn't forget any of them. So remind them. We didn't forget Thomasine here in Fort Belknap. We didn't forget Casey here in Fort Belknap. And because the families, sometimes they don't have the strength to be here. They don't have the strength to say, don't forget my son. So that's up to us to say, hey, don't forget all of them. There's so many of them. Just keep sharing all the positives. That's what I tell everybody. We'll never get anything done being negative. We can state facts, and sometimes the facts are really, really negative. But a fact that we're stating these statistics and telling these stories, and we have this strength to do this, that's a positive in itself. The fact that we're all at this table, that we're all on this Zoom, that's the positive. We didn't know each other before. I would have been alone thinking about Sal and Tristan. You would have been alone thinking about Ashley, but now we know each other's stories. I know Kim. I talk to Kim a lot. I've offered to come on the next one, but there's just things the public doesn't know about a lot of these cases. We try to put out as much as we can, but in the back of our mind, we still have to remember there's investigations going on, but like I say, I will speak, I will shout, I will name names like Robert Fog in the Morning, Wade Old Crow, Shauna Spotted Bear, Sarah Oldhorn, Deandra Tobacco Pittman, Erlis Hugs, Johnny Harjo. These are the adults that went home. Selena Not Afraid did not go home. Where and what did you do to Selena? That's what we do. That's all we can do until the day that somebody breaks, because that's 7 people who have to keep up a lie. That's very hard to do, especially when you got investigators on your back. So, you stay positive, and I'm still positive with Operation Lady Justice. I'm blessed we got her. I'm lucky we got her after hearing Grace say they wouldn't do it for her. Same scenario. Both found in Hardin off the res. How come Operation Lady Justice was able to come and review Selena's case and give her 2 investigators? And how come they couldn't do it for Kesera? That's what we want answers to, I'm lucky, I'm blessed, I'm thankful Selena has Operation Lady Justice, but why doesn't everybody else? That's what I want to know. And why do we need it? Make the local investigators and the attorneys do their job. We won't need review commissions. We won't need task forces. These will be bonus resources. These won't be resources. We have to spend time and money coming back and doing somebody else's job. The job should have been done right in the first place. And on my level, I've got a liaison with the tribe and that works here in the tribe, but he's our BIA guy. Everybody's like, oh, the Fed's on the res, the Fed's on the res. He's a tribal member. He has yet to interview anybody on Thomasine or Casey's case. So you tell me where the Feds are saving us on the res, because on a local tribal level, we can't even get him to interview witnesses. So our fight continues. We got a few bills in place, but until it trickles down, way down here, to the actual families, getting these people prosecuted, making these investigators on these reservations do their job, because as of today, they're not doing their job. They're working and going home. And they're telling the next level, we don't have any witnesses. We don't have any evidence. When in fact, he has yet to witness them. He has yet to interview them. The girls who found Thomasine Walker, they were high school girls, little girls. And they're asking me, why do no adults care? They're giving up on adults because not one person, not even a cop or investigator, went and talked to them and asked them what they seen. And so then I have to come in and, befriend them and prove to them that there are adults who care. And to this day, it's over a year, the investigator has yet to talk to anybody. And they're getting away with it. He gets away with it. So the fact that they think there's feds here going to solve these crimes on our reservations, that they've been here. They ain't new. They've been here. So these fact that these crimes aren't being investigated and solved, that's an internal issue on our own reservations that has to be addressed. You go to, I have personally went to the council, laid this all on the line. Soon as you leave, they forget about you. We have a bike path where there is young teenage girls raped because the lights are out. Over a year ago, they promised me they'd get them back. Those lights are all still out. Who wants to walk on a bike path if they're going to get raped? And who can fix it? The tribal council. And who hasn't fixed it? The tribal council. So when we take this fight and we're blaming everybody, we need to blame our neighbor. We need to blame that guy that's clocking in as an investigator and not doing his job. We need to blame our tribal prosecutor. We need to blame our investigators. We need to blame our council. We need to put the blame where it belongs now. We're here, we're at the table. Let's tell the truth. Let's put it out. And, for myself, I was all over the board, like we said. You try to say, when you get involved with this family, your family feels like you have to move 100 miles an hour because you're new to this. And you jump in and you're like, I have to do all this. I have to, without taking a break, without self-care, because you feel like if you don't do it right now, it's not going to be done, because you see it, you see the other cases, you see them not doing anything. And so right off the bat, you're already in a fight. You're already in a fight when it hasn't even begun because they don't do anything. So, I just want to encourage everybody with tribal elections, especially, get some women in there. We got good men, don't get me wrong. But this fight, it has to have a lot of women, grandmas, aunties, mothers, sisters, because we're not afraid. We are not scared, and we have a lot of good men by our sides. I have a boyfriend. I feel safe because I have him. Ivy, you guys have each other, everybody do what you can, but be safe, and I'm not saying this is like men don't care, because they do, but it's just, it's a fear. Okay. So if you got a tribal prosecutor who won't prosecute murders and rapists here and drug dealers because he has to go home. Nobody's going to protect him at home. Same with even the councilmen. They get threatened. They're scared. So are they going to stand up to these issues? No, they're not, because of the fear. So then it goes back to women. We're not scared. If you're going to take us down, you're going to take us down. And somebody's going to take me down. I hope somebody's videoing it, but I'm going to be there speaking loud as I can, because so far our leaders and the way this system, tribal, state, federal, we're set up, our men, it's a patriot, how do you say it? It's a men's society. It's a man's world. So somewhere in that man's world, women and girls and even kids have become objects, I guess I would say. They're not considered human anymore. So we need to get this empathy back into our tribal leaders at a tribal level. Get some women in there, get some empathy, get these movements going here. Like I said, I can't even get them to light up a bike path so our women can walk safely from the store to their homes. So we can sit and we can fight all we can with the feds, with the state. It all comes down to sometimes our own tribes are failing us, and it's time to say it, it's time to speak it, and it's time to do something about it.
Thank you very much, Cheryl, for all of that. I think it was so informative. And Grace, if you're still there, I'd like to ask you to come back and, just if you have any closing remarks of, moving forward, how we can support you and your family, and, as we wait possibly for Ada to come back to do our closing.
Yeah, I think that pretty much every family would have a lot of these same issues, you know, that I bring up, that Cheryl brings up. You know, it really hurts when the people who should be helping us, that should be advocating for us, that get the credit for you know, for allegedly protecting our women or doing something about it, when they don't stand by us. You know, our tribal leaders, in particular. You know, I'm really thankful for Kesara's ancestors that are looking out for her. She's enrolled Crow. Our leaders have done nothing for her. People in our family, I'm particularly hurt that, you know, it's it you know, we could be supported more, and you're in positions that you could absolutely do that and call attention to her case. Yeah, her ancestors, from the Northern Cheyenne tribe, you know, they're strong for her. You know, the Northern Cheyenne president, she stood by Kesara's family, um, by her Cheyenne family, you know, and really helped when we needed it, when we were so weak. You know, and still trying to find our feet and trying to find our voice. And you know, Kesara is also, you know, her grandmother is from North Dakota, from the 3 affiliated tribes, and you know, they've helped us. They have stepped up and, you know, did everything they could to offer support, and you know, her family over there. And yeah, so there are people, you know, that you know, this, her spirit has touched them, and they're concerned, and you know, that gives me strength. You know, I don't like going to Hardin. You know, I don't like that town. I got out of there. You know, I went to school, and I just feel so much apathy to this issue, and you know, from a lot of the community. And unfortunately, I think that's something that is going to keep happening until I said, you know, we hold the county accountable. That's going to be an ongoing problem. And another thing is the media. You know, unfortunately, you know, our stories have to be sensationalized. They have to be new and different. You know, what is covering another case of a missing or murdered person? How is that different from all these other ones that we didn't cover? You know, and families finding themselves running up against that, and you know, trying to get some attention with what they're doing, with things that they've done on their own, and you know, really caring about the negligence of everyone in law enforcement. That's an ongoing problem, and seeing our girls as human, you know, recognizing their humanity, and not blaming them. You know, those are things that that contribute to this. And I mentioned Yolanda's out in Bighorn County now. You know, at the courthouse, she's there. You know, I'm just sending her strength, and you know, just really planning on doing what I can this summer when I'm able to go out there, and you know, you know, continue all of our efforts, and keep asking for these investigators to look at our case as they should. You know, really being uncomfortable, you know, calling people out. You know, like I said, it's not about us. It's about our girls that can't speak for themselves.
Thank you. Thank you. And, I think that's always an important point. There's so many stories that we will hear, but there's so many more that we won't. And, I think just as we move forward trying to get justice for us and are getting justice for our families, it's always important to note that, there will be so many other families that need and deserve justice. And, I just have to thank you both and commend you so much for, the work that, a lot of us do take on. And, thank you so much for being here. And, if there's any way we can support your families moving forward, please let us know. And, people always, Sovereign Bodies is a good place to support, just kind of starting that forward movement. And, I just want to thank you all both for being here today. And, I'll keep your family in your thoughts.
Can I just address something really quick, Ivan? One of the issues is these girls are 18. She's 18. She has a right to make her decisions. I kind of found a little loophole that benefits us as Natives. If you can go to your tribal court and get, I guess you would call it power of attorney over your daughter, because she might be in a position she can't make her own choices. She might be held against her will. There's ways to get these, and we're very fortunate as tribal members, as we have our own tribal courts. We can go in there, we can get these power of attorneys over our 18-year-old daughters, because I had to do this. We had to do this. My very first case from here that I helped out with was an 18-year-old girl. A guy from Chicago came and got her and took her and left. And the cops kept saying, she's 18, she's 18. But no, she wasn't ready for that. We know our girls. And so the cops didn't do nothing. So we had to, she had to go get a thing at the courts to say she wasn't able to make her right decision. She wasn't in her right frame of mind, because she wasn't. She was being controlled by a man, a way older man, who convinced her to leave and run away. And thank goodness that little tiny Montana stop down in Grass Range, she helped me. You reach out to these people, because we thought, how are we going to get help? So she went through her video there, and sure enough, they went through her store. So as a family, you gotta think outside the box. Don't let them tell you she's 18, she can do what she wants. No, there's got to be a way. And that was one way I found, to get our girls, is you go in there and you get that power of attorney that says they're not making their right choices. They're not in their right frame of mind for some reason. And that was in that case, that helped us. We got her back. She was able to get her back. Tracked that guy. They did a face image. She sent it to me. I sent it to some of my friends. They did a face image. We found everything about him in Chicago. And he wasn't even from this country, you guys. So that's how scary it is for our girls. And even if she was 18, she didn't have the maturity to know everything that was happening. So thank God they got her back that way. She never took off again. Her family got her, but if you think hard enough, especially when it comes to them being 18, we kind of have a little bit of an advantage with our tribal courts. We can get that power of attorney a little bit easier than you could, I would say, off the res. Mm-hmm. So that was just one way. I've heard, oh, they're 18 kind of thing. So that was just one thing. One time it worked for us. So, it's worth a try for everybody if they have that situation where they know their daughter's in jail and they won't do anything. Go to court and say, let them know that she's not able to make the right choices right now. Someone needs to help her and make those choices. And that's what a power of attorney does. And just a suggestion, like I said, we're coming up with all kinds of crazy ideas and everything. Each case is so different. We try to figure out each case on how we can do something helpful. But that one was helpful when it comes to anybody over 18.
Thank you for that. And, I think that having those ideas of ways just to think out of the box to get justice is something that I think that we've all have toyed with in our mind. But yeah, again, thank you all. We are at our time, and I just have to thank you for being here today. And thank you all. And, I think that just Cheryl and Grace have said, just try to support these families any way you can. And thank you all.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing your stories.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.